All right, time for some underwater action. This is called the river.
Hold your hands on to.
Let's pause here. It's not often. It's not often that we get right off the bat a super interesting shot that could say everything immediately. There's a lot of subtext here. The rug. This is some kind of animal skin rug, it looks like. We've got these cutters of some type. Her eyes seem to be kind of rolled back in her head. She's in kind of a meditative position. The set is kind of eaten away at time. It's called the river. Let's see where it goes from here and then see how it ties back to this first frame.
Hold your hands on to your chest and tell me what you find. Out of you, a sparrow comes and sees without its eyes. Don't forget who you are, even though you are hurt. You are caught in wire, and soon it will burst.
Cool.
You can cry, blinking your eyes. Do you miss the sadness when it's gone?
Wow.
And you let the river run wild. And you let the river run wild. I am a shadow, I am cold, and now I seek for warmth. Stitch your skin onto my skin, and we won't be alone. Don't forget who you are, even though you're in need. Like a bird in the night, your emotions deserve to be free. You can cry, blinking your eyes. Do you miss the sadness when it's gone? And you let the river run wild. And you let the river run wild. You can cry, blinking your eyes. I don't miss the sadness when it's gone. And the feeling of it makes me smile. As I let the river run wild. You can cry, you can cry. To where the ocean is big, become a part of the river. You can cry, you can cry, you can cry. Can you let the river run wild? You can cry, blinking your eyes. Do you miss the sadness when it's gone? And you let the river run wild.
Wow.
And you let the river run wild. You can cry, blinking your eyes. To where the ocean is big, I don't miss the sadness when it's gone. And the feeling of it makes me smile. As I let the river run wild.
Wow.
Drinking your eyes. Do you miss the sadness when it's gone? And you let the river
Wow.
run wild. And you let the river run wild.
Thoughts? Chills. I agree. Gabs, chills. Wow. I think it's so interesting. Once again, subtext. This is one of the reasons that I wanted to kind of deep dive her, because I do think, and it's proven true so far. Oh, you just gave it away. Oh, damn it, Fifi. I was gonna nail it perfectly. Oh. Vivi says, if I'm not mistaken, she dedicated this one to men, so you can be free to express your feelings without the same patriarchy, without the shame patriarchy makes you feel. Now, this is something that we have talked about. I mean, hell, we talked about this. Well, we talked about something similar just a couple streams ago, and we talk about it pretty regularly. Man, I think the subtext that she works into these videos is exactly why I wanted to deep dive her. 100%. She has a depth and a meaning to her music that even if we don't get right in the scheme of things, right? We're just talking. The fact that her art can have us sitting here and throw in different theories left and right about what it could mean and what this video represents to me and how I interpret it versus how you might interpret it, that's one of my favorite things. I love the fact that her voice is so friggin' unbelievable. But her lyrics are deep. She has a purpose. She has a meaning. And the way that she puts these videos together, Chief's kiss. Yes, totally agree. What I think is interesting is like this, coming back to this right here, this first scene. This tool was chosen for a very specific reason. Now, knowing that she's going to be cutting these, vines out of her eyes, maybe I would have gone with like some of the Crayola scissors, not sponsored, but like the little tiny ones we give kids in kindergarten. They have like a plastic, they have rounded edges. You can't really stab anybody, unfortunately. Maybe I would have gone with those. But this is where we landed. And there's a reason for that. Now, if we're talking about it's catered to men, then that makes perfect sense. That is strong, it's hearty. There is no softness to this, right? So that's kind of what puts us here. Eventually, she throws that away. And then she begins to run. Starts running down this path. Here we go. Now watch this scene here specifically. There's a hesitation up in the gazebo. And underwater, this is basically a drowning scene, right? You're dying to something. Sometimes we can die to addiction, we can die to toxicity, whatever, but there's a death of something. In this regard, we could say it's a death of masculinity. I have no idea. But once she does this, we see it start to kind of take over her face. She starts to run. And it just kind of takes over. Right? There's a freedom to this. There's a beauty to this. Only to find, and this is what I think this last part represents, This is natural, right? What she was fighting, whether it's expression, right, feelings, whatever, this is natural. When she finally stopped and kind of accepted it, she realized, like, oh, this is kind of the way it's supposed to be. And then you die in your feelings. The end. Now, I think coming back to this scene over and over again is also interesting because there is something to this scene specifically that keeps getting referenced. There is, if we're talking about men, if we're talking about men not expressing themselves, expressing their feelings, this makes sense because there is an isolation, there is a darkness to it that could symbolically represent that. Now, when we watched Sam Fender's Dead Boys, could be a supplementary video to this, because this would kind of be like the warning to men that when you keep things boxed in and locked up, there are consequences. And then Sam Fender's video, Dead Boys, would be the consequences of those actions. Now, do I think that's what she intended? No, I think this is a representation of like, hey, you should feel free to express yourself. Now, I do think, and I've said this recently, I do think that very slowly over time, we're starting to see more acceptance of men being able to do that. Is it perfect? No. Is it ever going to be perfect? No. Nothing ever is. So at some point, we have to at least acknowledge that things are better. And I think there are more men that are embracing the idea of, even if it's just between each other, feeling comfortable enough to express that. Now, I see that firsthand on pretty much a daily basis, because I have a military background, because I have been involved in paramilitary things for the last couple of decades. I work with the tough guys. I work with the warriors, the real deals. I know that at the surface level of things, there is a quietness there. There is a silence there, and there is a friggin' reason for that. There is absolutely a sensical reason for that. You get a little deeper, you get more behind closed doors, and guys will share. They will absolutely share. But they have to feel safe enough to do so. And that's why, things like, Wounded Warriors and other like men's typed groups where they can kind of come together of like mind and understand that each of them have been through things. Each of them have been good guys. They have been bad guys. They need a safe place to do that because most people don't understand. In the same way that we don't understand some of the things that you may go through. And I don't just mean like you as in women, right? I mean just you as another person that might not be military, that might not be, a sole provider or a father or whatever else. Like nobody understands everybody else's perspective, which is why it's so important for us to share these types of messages and things. We have to be talking to each other. We have to communicate with each other, but we also have to listen. That's the other side of the coin. Thankfully, I feel like more people have been listening. It just takes time. There's a level of trust that has to be reciprocal. We have to trust that when we say things, you will at least try to hear what we're saying and try to understand where we're coming from. That's it. You don't have to agree. Just try to understand where we're coming from. Because maybe it doesn't even make sense to us. We're just talking. We're trying to just express what we're going through, even if we don't have the answers. The trust on the other side is you have to trust that we are being honest with you, we're being accurate, and understand that we're being vulnerable. There's a responsibility back and forth. Now, am I preaching to the choir? Generally speaking, yes. The people that are sitting right here, we're all, for the most part, pretty like-minded. But just remember that the loudest voices are usually the smaller numbers, right? They get the most attention. And that's something that's helped me at least be able to speak a little bit more, talk a little bit more. I think we need more people to kind of like take that step out sometimes. It shows others that it's okay. And I can't tell you how many times I have seen over my years, I will have a difficult conversation with a group of dudes, and I'll get a lot of pushback and resistance. And it's only a matter of time before at least one, if not more of them, will come to me behind the scenes and be like, yeah, bro, I heard what you're saying. Yeah, oh man, that's tough. You know, I don't know if I can do that. So a lot of them are thinking about it. They want to be able to talk, but when they do, they're shut down. They're wrong. They're immediately the bad guy. That's a tough position to be in. There's a consequence to that. So at the very least, discussions should be happening, period. We should just try to understand each other. Wave my magic wand. Thank you, Aurora, for this incredibly deep and beautiful video. It once again sparked conversation. I am enjoying the hell out of this. I hope you are too.